What's that cool that everyone walks down?
While the sun is still shining, we have a busy weekend of getting the garden ready for planting, and boy, do I have big plans. But let's start with some breakfast. Today we're going to make a puff pancake. This is one of my favorite things to make because I can just throw it all in, stick it in the oven, and we still have some form of a pancake for breakfast. So for this, I'm putting in a 1/4 cup or a half a stick of butter into a 9x13 glass pan, and then I'm putting that in the oven while it preheats to 425 degrees. Now while that melts, I am adding 6 eggs, a cup of milk, a tablespoon of sugar, a pinch of salt, and 1 cup of flour to a mixing bowl, and whisking it a lot. Sometimes I will just use straight oat flour. I do that a lot. It's been my preference for a long time, but today I am just going to use a homemade rice flour blend made from rice flour that I milled, tapioca starch, potato starch, and xanthan gum. I had it left over and needed to use it up and wanted to test it in this for a different type of gluten-free puff pancake. I don't know which one I prefer. I'm also going to try an oat-based all-purpose that has the starches in it and see how we like that. Now, sometimes I also use my immersion blender to mix all the ingredients because you want this really smooth and without lumps and filled with air. So I do that sometimes as well. But then I just pour it into the hot pan of butter and bake it for maybe 30 minutes or until the center is set and the pancake has a really nice golden color to it. Today we are going to add homemade syrup and chocolate chips to ours, and that is of course with some butter on top. Now off we go outside to the garden. I have several things to check off today. Now, far more than I will likely get to, but we are just going to work on one thing at a time and check things off as we go. My parents are down at our front pasture finishing up the fence so that we can move the cow and the donkey to the front field. We have been working on each field very slowly. We have 3, possibly 4 that we want to fence in, and we are on number 2, and after today we have it done, and I'm very excited about that. Now, I bought several hydrangeas, roses, and this lilac bush with the hopes of adding them all around the property, but today I'm only going to get to this lilac bush. I can't seem to decide where to put everything else, and where I had originally planned is just not working out. So this is where I struggle with our house build, because there are very few things that are permanent right now, and so planning around that is super difficult. But I decided for this lilac to go here with our birdhouse in hopes it will kind of grow up it or maybe around it. I'm not exactly sure how this works with lilacs. I've never grown it, but that is the hope anyway. It is right here by the garden, and this garden space is permanent. It is between all the houses, which is perfect because we all share one garden instead of having multiple. And we just have one really big one, and we dream of making it bigger. So this is the permanent spot. So I thought this would be a perfect place. We have all of our trellises in that we plan to add this year, and I just think they turned out beautiful and better than I even pictured them to. doing? Oh, Bubby, you're gonna get your head stuck.
Hello.
Keep forgetting to look in that little... Now for day 2, I am prepping some food in advance because I did a terrible job of this yesterday. So first step is getting some eggs into a pot to boil. I never boil my eggs this way. I just always use my Instant Pot. It makes peeling them a breeze. So you're going to see that some of these eggs just got butchered in the peeling process, but they eat the same, so it's all right. I also had a pork tenderloin in the fridge and some corn in the freezer from last summer, and I threw that and some potatoes in my Dutch oven, covered them with water, added salt and pepper, and then let it cook all day, low and slow in the oven. Now I'm also preparing some homemade mayo. This comes with a disclaimer that this is something I only make for us. I don't take this places. I don't add it to anything if I'm taking it for others to eat, like a family gathering or a church potluck, because it does have raw egg in it. So for that sort of stuff, I always use Duke's mayo. But for us, especially when we have so many eggs, I love, love, love homemade mayonnaise. It is the best. To make it, I just add an egg, a tablespoon of lemon juice, maybe half a teaspoon of mustard, just a splash, a couple of pinches of salt, and a cup of oil to a mason jar. And then starting all the way at the bottom, I use my immersion blender to mix it up. As it starts to turn white, I start to pull the immersion blender up until all the oil is incorporated and it is nice and thick. It doesn't last long in the fridge, but it's very quick to make, so really isn't an issue. I just make it fresh every time, and it is so worth it for how fresh and delicious it is. Now, while the food slow cooked, we headed back out to the garden, and I started planting green beans and potatoes. I am very late this year, and I still don't have it all planted, so here's to hoping that I get it done in time for a good harvest. The kids were wanting to go to the park later this evening, though, so after planning as much as I could, we ate really quick and loaded up to go play. I decided to make a salad. I added romaine and deli meat and cheese and homemade pickles and onion, some boiled eggs. and then my favorite homemade dressing to the salad, and then put all of that with the pork tenderloin and the potatoes and the corn. The homemade dressing is just half a cup of mayo. I used the homemade, 3-ish tablespoons of sugar. Sometimes I use honey, and then a splash of white vinegar, and just mix that up. It's very simple, but it is so, so good. I also added a carrot on the side. Then the storms came, which was very unfortunate for my garden planting. We had days, about a full week of thunderstorms.
Whoa, Samina, the white mule stopped. The girl thrust the plowshare into the ash-white soil again.
Since it was such a stormy day, we needed a comforting meal. And this one actually lasted us 3 days. Now, a lot of times what you see me cooking lasts us several meals like this. I don't cook new meals every single day, at least not entirely. We eat the same thing until it's gone. Many times, though, I do add maybe a few things here and there, or do a fresh take on a leftover. So for example, for today I'm making my mom's recipe that we've been eating a lot lately. I'm not really sure what you'd call this. I don't know if it's like a soup or what, but it is basically just collard greens cooked the way we always make them. You add them into some water and you cook them slowly with bacon grease and salt and pepper. Very simple, but so, so good. And then lately we've been adding in some sliced ham. This is a pre-cooked ham, and some small potatoes, and that rounds it out as a full meal. So I threw it all in the slow cooker and just let it cook. And then the first day I paired it with some deviled eggs that I made from the leftover boiled eggs and the leftover homemade mayo. I just eyeballed all the yolks, mixed with the mayo, the tiniest bit of mustard, some pickle juice, salt, pepper, topped them with paprika, the normal. And I made a batch of gluten-free cornbread to serve beside it. Then for the other 2 days, I made something else, some other kind of meat and sides, and then paired this kind of as like a little side with it, the same way you would serve collard greens. And we just continued eating it, and it just gets better after a few days because the flavors really mix together. And this is so good. My mom made it one day for Sunday lunch, and I've made it multiple times since then. What is that, Bubba? Once the rain stopped, we had to venture outside to see how everything looked. Spring is definitely here with this weather. Both ponds are almost flooded, and that little creek over there has never been that wide.